On this week's demo, we have all-around great gal. Alexa, demo the workout.
We've got wall balls, double unders, and bar muscle-ups.
We release these workouts on YouTube on
1 p.m. on Thursdays.
On Thursday.
Thursday.
YouTube, 1 p.m.
Join our entire community to practice the skill of competing.
Use the next 2 days to plan a strategy, grab some friends, and throw down on Saturday.
See where you stack up each week on our Throwdown leaderboard. It's free to sign up. Go to trainingthinktank.com/throwdown.
This week's throwdown is 12 rounds for time of 16 wall balls, 24 double unders, and 3 bar muscle-ups.
For all the movement standards, you can check out the description below. The one that we did want to note is that it is 10 feet for both males and females on the wall balls this week.
This week's athlete is Alexa Davis. She's one of my on-site clients. All-around good gal.
All-around great gal.
Great gal. Gymnastics specialist, fantastic with wall balls. Watch her knock this one out.
Crushed it.
Congratulations to Noah for finishing second in the first stage of the games. He'll be out in Aromas in a few weeks. And also congratulations to Travis and Chandler who were on site. They both crushed it. It was a lot of fun to watch them.
Yeah, super fired up for Noah's success. We were lucky enough to have Noah hop into the design over the last couple of months, get some of the workouts in, use the community a little bit to help with his training. So if you want to check out the design, go to trainingthinktank.com.
And we did get word that Max is on his way back from the North Pole, so he should be back here for next week's throwdown.
I can't wait to see him.
Let's go see Alexa's strategy.
Hello.
Hey,
What is your strategy?
I'm planning to do them all unbroken, but we'll see. I might break up the wall balls later on. Just depends on how tired I get. Just to keep moving through the rounds as fast as I can. That's the plan. Finish
And what's
it.
the station that plays all the hits?
That's a great question.
Another great interview by Chris. Well done, my friend.
What's your plan?
I'm gonna go fast.
To get as uncomfortable as possible.
Oh,
Thanks,
hey,
Chris.
Mike. I see you.
Where am I at? Oh, just warming up, doing some cardio. All right, Alexa, getting after it. This is a beef of a workout, a lot of rounds, 12 rounds. I don't think I've ever done more than 10 rounds in anything.
Even a 40-minute AMRAP.
Yeah.
So it is a 10-foot target for the women as well, which she handled really well. Sometimes I thought she was going to throw the ball over the top of the target.
Yeah, these look really good.
Yeah, she was getting well over the line. I was trying to say some rounds, I was like, just get above the line. Don't do more than needed.
I think
Yeah.
that is a skill, though. A lot of times, like maybe the first one's too low, and then you get no rep at a competition, or if you go too high, or so a lot of people miss the target on the first rep. So, good thing to practice.
Yeah. Yeah, Alexa's pretty good at wall balls. She was excited for this one. She likes muscle up, she likes double unders, so it was just cool to see her like fired up to get after this workout. Originally, she was like, I'm just gonna go unbroken and do the whole thing, and I was like, that's a lot of wall balls. Let's consider like maybe at some point breaking it up just so you keep your transitions a little faster.
Yeah, I do think the first few rounds will go by relatively quickly, so it's probably worth going fast and then kind of regulating yourself after that based on how you feel on the wall balls and I think the bar muscle-ups.
Yeah.
I think, and wall balls are a good movement for me, but I think I would break them up from the beginning, actually, into 2 sets and try to keep my transition into the muscle-ups short, because I think a lot of time can be lost there. She's really good at bar muscle-ups, but for athletes who are not as good as she is,
Yeah.
if you blow up your shoulders on the wall balls, especially if you're not used to throwing to a 10-foot target, then you're going to lose a lot of time.
Yeah,
I was gonna ask, would you break them up because you're scared or because it's hard?
wow, we got another Max here today.
I'm just trying to fill in correctly.
This is one of those workouts where it's a great example of there's going to be a different limitation for each person. Like even with 24 double unders, that would be the thing I would be worried about because my bounding's not as good as the two of you. But the bar muscle ups, like that's only 3 each round. I know I can transition quick and do those. Wall balls aren't an issue. But Mia, like you said, a lot of people 3 may get really challenging towards the last 6 rounds or last 4 rounds. So that is something you have to think about with the bar muscle ups by breaking up the wall balls.
Yeah, I think a wall ball break is not a bad idea just because if it keeps your transitions faster throughout the whole workout, because there are a ton of transitions in this. 3 movements times 12 rounds, it's a lot of moving.
How many is that?
3 movements. I'm not doing it right now.
Calculator, please.
It's 172 wall ball, which is just quite a bit. It's 188, 192.
It's 376 wall balls.
Yeah, so anyways, point being, like, there's a ton of transition back and forth. So I think that when people get unbroken sets stuck in their head, it turns into them taking longer breaks to try and keep that number unbroken. And, you know, like when we were talking beforehand for a plan, I was like, whatever you got to do to just keep the transition shorter, you know, not worrying about like, oh, I have to do 16 unbroken. I think that'll just yield a faster time overall.
Yeah, I think the rule of thumb, and we've talked about this before in podcasts and on the throwdown videos, is movement speed and transition times or rest breaks. Those are basically the same thing. So obviously the less you rest, the faster you're going to typically go in workouts. And so if that means break it up. For higher level athletes, they're probably going to be able to go unbroken for maybe 8 to 10 or even all 12 rounds.
Yeah, I've only been working with Alexa for a couple of months now, but like the improvements she's gotten, especially in things like heavier wall balls with bigger sets like this, and her squat strength overall. So I was really happy to see how well she was controlling the wall ball, but mostly double unders too. So when we started, she was using a much longer rope. Her bound wasn't very consistent, but now things look a lot better. I would say if there's anything I still want to work on is that first rep. Teaching her to get comfortable going right into the double under, because again 12 rounds of that, 1 second extra doing that single under to get going adds up over time.
Yeah, it's definitely a useful tool, especially with the workouts we've seen in the open, like the 20-minute AMRAP last year, where some people were getting almost 30 or even 30 rounds. That's a lot of transitions back to double unders.
Yeah.
One of the things we talked about with wall balls before is learning how to almost go into your squat as you're catching the wall ball instead of waiting for it.
Yeah.
That definitely is something that, Mike, you do really well, and your reps on a wall ball probably 1.7 seconds per rep, which is a lot faster than the field.
Yeah, I don't necessarily think about, I think I try to just drop below the squat before the ball gets there, like you were saying. But I don't know if that's necessarily something I'm consciously trying to do. I think that's just how it happens.
Yeah, you've got a lot of tension and you're able to squat fast, but that's something for some people that maybe are why am I slower on wall balls? If you have your arms over your head and you're waiting for the ball before you even bend your knees or hips, that's obviously going to make it a little bit slower for you compared to the field.
Yeah, I think that's as a result too, is I try not to leave my arms up waiting for the ball, because that actually makes my shoulders tired. So as soon as the ball leaves my hands, I'm bringing my arms back down to me and the ball just kind of crashes into me a little bit, which for some people seems uncomfortable, but for me it's actually easier on my shoulders when the ball crashes into my arms instead of me waiting for the ball with my arms overhead.
Yeah, I agree.
But enough about me. Alexa crushes gymnastics, so anytime there's a bar involved with kipping chest to bar, toe to bar, she's super fired up. She's super smooth at them. She's got a strong gymnastics background. I've just been really impressed with her ability to continue to progress in a movement she's already good at. So when we started working together, she was already good at them. Now she's starting to become pretty great at them, especially with a heavier mixed setting like this with a ton of wall balls at a high target.
So that was a 13-second transition into her wall balls. I think she continues to go unbroken for a little bit longer here, but I'm interested to see deeper in the workout when she does break her sets, if she's still doing that long of a break into the first one with a break in the middle. Or if she starts transitioning a little bit quicker.
Yeah, that's where you definitely want to start breaking, right? If your transitions go from 5 seconds to 15 seconds, that's when probably hey, maybe I should do 8 wall balls, 4-second rest, 8 wall balls instead of that longer rest before to go unbroken.
Yeah, I think a wall ball breaks pretty quick too, right? It doesn't take much time to let it drop, get the tension off of your shoulders, and just even as it drops and is settling on the ground, you're already kind of bending back over to pick it up.
For sure.
That little bit of rest makes a big difference.
So our double unders continue to look relatively good. I think one of the things that I always mess up with is I create a lot of tension as I get fatigued. So one of the things I watch Travis or Mike, not to continue to, I'm just going to boost your ego as much as I can.
No,
great, you're great at wall balls.
Yeah.
You're great at muscle ups. You're great at double unders.
Ever.
But one of the things that they do so well, and for those I'm sure a lot of people have seen Travis do them, is it's almost like a relaxed, rolled in shoulder position where he's just kind of breathing the entire time. A lot of people we see, they start tensioning with the rope and their shoulders start getting a bunch of occlusion, they start blowing up, and then obviously mixed with wall balls and muscle ups, that becomes something that really redlines you quickly.
Yeah, I think at this point, to have a good score on this, a set of 24 dubs should be almost a little bit of a break.
For sure.
It's actually going to be as taxing just walking over the rope, getting set, and then going back to the next movement.
It's definitely not that for me.
So her transition was a little quicker this time. I think it was 11 seconds into it.
Yeah, I think mostly too, just because she had a pretty big chalk break before starting the bar muscle up. So anytime I have someone that's really bad about going to the chalk bucket every round, when it's almost like a comfort thing, they use the chalk because they think I need an extra break right now, I need some rest. I'm at least do it every other round. Have a deal with, make a deal with yourself at some point where it's all right, I know it's only 3 bar muscle ups, I don't need to chalk every single time for that.
Mia, you've talked about before in workouts where there's 3 or more movements that you'll pick one to be your quote-unquote slow transition and then 2 to be fast. What would you recommend, or would it just be different from athlete to athlete in a workout like this?
I think it would be very different. For me, it would 100% be into the bar muscle up. So I would do my wall balls, which I still think breaking is smart, transition right away into double unders, take a break before the muscle ups, and then get off the muscle ups and go right into my first set of wall balls and try to hold that for as long as I can. And ideally, the only thing that would slow down would be, realistically, my break into bar muscle ups will probably get longer as I go. But that, that makes sense for a gymnastics limited athlete. She really crushed these wall balls, and she's not that tall, so I thought that the 10-foot target was going to be more punishing.
Yeah, I did too. I thought it'd be more challenging.
But she seemed to be okay with it, so.
Of all the squat movements, this is by far her favorite. She loves some wall balls. I feel like a lot of it too is just,
and she's still.
I think just her absolute strength, like just making like this weight to that height is just feeling easier as she gets stronger.
Yeah,
we do a lot of training with a 20-pound.
That definitely helps. It's funny, we've been doing a little bit of that in the design too, where we'll go back and forth between a 30 and a 20-pound, and you do a 30-pound wall ball for the guys, and then we get back to the 20. I'm like, it's crazy. Totally different.
Very different movement. It feels so much easier. It's just the amount of shoulder fatigue you get using a 30-pound or a 20-pound, like if you're used to using 20 and 14, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's funny too, like we'll do a high amount of wall balls and I don't ever feel it in my legs while doing it, but the next day I'm like, okay, there they are.
Yeah.
So her kip, I would say one thing I would want to work on is like making her first one a little more powerful, tighter. Watch the second 2 reps. We'll try and get a side angle maybe the next round, but she connects that glide kip a little bit better and it's a little more effortless. So I would just work on like tightening the hollow to arch position a little bit on that first kip. And I think it'll just smooth it out a little bit, make it less effort needed to get up.
That's something that I've noticed with a lot of athletes, even higher level athletes, is their first kip on a bar muscle up usually is their weakest one if there was whatever you wanted to gauge that. So that may be something that people at home, you can start thinking about, like if that is you, like the first one's always harder. I hear people all the time say, I'd rather do doubles than singles because I can do the second one a lot faster or better, whatever it may be. That's something you can practice, or in the design we have our skill programs where that's one of the things that they're working on, is being able to jump up and get into a good arch and hollow position.
Got a million Mia demo videos in there.
Yeah.
So going off of that first rep, something that's helped me tremendously is, I don't call it, someone else called it this, and now I call it this too, jumping into a pike. So stepping back away from the bar, jumping into the bar with your hands in front of you, so you have some lat activation and your feet in front of you. It's kind of awkward because you're jumping like hands towards the bar but butt back, but it creates that L position that you get in with your second rep and helps bring more power into that
once
first
you figure that out, it makes so much easier.
Difference.
For sure.
Yeah, so I do that with toe to bar sometime. I don't do it with chest to bar. Chest to bar, I start directly under the bar, but bar muscle up, I start behind the bar, because when you kind of like jump to that hollow or pike, like you were saying, you've kind of got kinetic energy already built up.
Yeah, it definitely makes it
so going
easier.
into the arch is like really powerful. And snap into that first rep.
And those are the little things too in workouts like this, where there are a lot of transitions that if it's half a second faster each time you move through and you're competing against a field of, let's say, 100,000 in the open, that may move you up the leaderboard 500 spots, which is a lot when you're talking about points.
Yeah, so still moving super strong on these.
She rested 8 seconds into her set here, and she broke the last set, so I'm assuming she's going to break this one as well. We'll see what her break is.
Yeah, I think if you're limiting your rest breaks to under 10 seconds this deep into the workout, that's pretty solid.
I like this workout. To me, it's kind of a mix of like 20.2 and 20.5. 20.2 with like the high turnover, the double unders, thrusters, and toe to bar. So a little bit of like the gymnastics in there, and then with a lot of transitions, and then 20.5 where it's just like, good amount of wall balls, some muscle ups. I like the mix of the two. Just fun movements in a workout like this.
Really good break there. I mean, that was drop the wall ball, pick it right back up. I think that's probably, Mia, the way that you were talking about you'd want to start the workout. So it definitely makes sense for someone that's concerned about blowing up later on.
I mean, so it was, I think 8 seconds I said into the ball, into the first set, and then 5 or 6 seconds. So that's 13, which is the low end of her rest breaks into her unbroken sets. They seem to have been getting longer as she went in. So, it's not a huge amount, but over 12 rounds, it definitely adds up.
And I would assume she probably felt better taking that break going into the double unders. That's another thing people got to think about, is not just total rest time. Obviously, that matters most, but how do you feel for the remainder of the movements in that round? And if you feel better to transition quicker to, let's say, the rope or the bar muscle up, obviously that's going to pay dividends later on.
On this edition of how to make painful things not hurt as bad, I like to think of when we've got a lot of transitions like this, figure out where you want that like long transition to be. So like she just took like a 12-second break before going into the bar muscle ups to get chalk, but her transition to wall ball was really fast, and her transition from wall ball to dubs has been really fast. So I don't think you have the ability to have more than one of those like rebreaths where you're kind of taking a little bit of a longer break. So if you have to make a deal with yourself, like pick one and let that be just the one thing that you do.
Yeah, you definitely want to do that before the movement. It's going to be the most challenging so that you're not getting any no reps. So a bar muscle up being that maybe for her.
Yeah, that's a good point.
That's smart. That was another really good wall ball break. I mean, only 4 or 5 seconds. So that's probably the way that you're going to have to do it if you want to be competitive in this workout is short breaks, do 8-8, 10-6, whatever it may be for you.
So at this point, she's done at least 267 wall balls.
You've counted every single one?
Yeah, I think that this is definitely doable unbroken for like the top of the top.
Oh yeah, I think it'll be kind of like I was saying, like 20.2 for the top of the top. It'll be them going literally as fast as they can. So like you watch the top guys in the world that did 20.2. It was just like a race between movements.
Yeah.
The movements weren't big enough sets or challenging enough for them to really reach a red line at any point. They were just like literally just limited by their speed and transitions between the movements.
Yeah, I would say that 16 wall balls is a little bit more challenging, obviously, than 4 dumbbell thrusters, but the speed of transition will be pretty similar because for most of the top males and females, the wall ball is going to be a low effort movement.
Yeah, and I think for the guys, I mean, the target's the same for the guys, so it's a little bit easier. Girls, for some reason, we added an extra foot just to make it harder for the ladies.
Yeah, that was my call, so sorry for all the ladies out there. I do think, I mean, look, if there is a row involved, like 19.1, probably should be a lower target because of the way that the row works. But if we're trying to even out the total time of a workout, 10 feet for both makes a lot of sense because then the wall ball time's the same.
You know, women have a higher pain tolerance, so that just evens out.
Also true.
Yeah.
That's
why we made the target higher.
So another good break. That was like 6 seconds there, but still, I mean, I think if you're keeping them under 10 seconds at this point, and then if it's like interset breaks, maybe 4 to 6 seconds, something like what she's been doing is pretty solid.
Yeah, I think she's getting near the end here. This might be second to last round. But yeah, really good pacing. I mean, she's starting to hurt a little bit, you can tell. Transitions are getting a little slower, a little sloppier, but movement speed's still there.
Her bar muscle ups held up so well. They were really impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think that's going to be the challenge for most people towards the end, even though it's only 3. For someone that's limited with bar muscle ups or muscle ups in general, you're going to have to take some longer breaks. So her transitions have been really good to the bar.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
think this is where I start yelling.
We should put a mic on you.
Mean.
Yeah, I mean, another great break. That was 7 seconds.
7 seconds is a really short break into muscle ups, in my opinion. So, good job, Alexa.
And it's nice, too. She has that little pause at the top before she did each rep, which I think helps a lot instead of having to come down and do singles.
She's taking her breath, too, at the end of the last rep on top of the bar.
Yeah.
Because we all know, like, coming down and, like, absorbing your landing after bar muscle-ups, kind of hard. Like, it takes a little bit of energy to control yourself.
A little bit longer with that break, but still, I think, you're talking I think she's on is this round 11 or 12?
This is her last round.
Last round?
I think so, but I'm not positive.
I'm pretty sure it is.
So this is kind of one of the things that Mike was talking about earlier of getting your hands down. You don't have to do it. I've had people that are really successful with wall balls that keep their hands up, but one of the things you can think about is dropping your hands to where the ball's coming into your chest and your hands are already there.
Yeah, I attribute that to poor shoulder mobility because it's like it's the same reason why like changing a light bulb is like brutal to me.
It's the worst.
Yeah, it feels like doing wall balls. So
you know what I did the other day? I was putting up a new shower curtain and I had my hands up the entire time. I was dying. Yeah, something to think about even if you have great shoulder mobility because it'll obviously allow a little bit more blood flow into your arms.
It definitely takes practice because I try to do that when I try to speed up my reps and I usually just get hit in the face.
Yeah, so. For sure. Got to push the chin back.
You got extra foot of the ball coming down now too. It's got a little bit extra speed.
You're such an engineer.
Oh man.
All right, let's see this last transition.
Solid.
Up to the bar, great job. Let's count them out now, guys. 2.
And
you did it.
All right.
Great job.
17:33. Pretty solid.
Great job.
Super happy with that. That was awesome. All right, Pat, take us away.
It's a wrap, you know what I'm saying? Your boy Project Patar in this thing, man. Hey, look, man, thank y'all for watching Training Think Tank's YouTube channel. Y'all hit that motherfucking subscribe button, you know what I'm saying? So y'all go ahead, man. Thank y'all for watching the channel, you know what I'm saying? Hit that motherfucking subscribe button, let it be known, what it be known, what it be known, you know what I'm saying? Ta-ta.